Hey, welcome to a special presentation. Today we're going to be talking with a Columbus Diocese Superintendent. He's Episcopal Moderator for Education and Superintendent of Schools. We're going to be talking about education in the Catholic school system, so stay tuned. Hey, welcome to a special presentation. I have just recently met Adam Dufault. Adam is a Episcopal Moderator for Education and Superintendent of School Systems. It's with the the Diocese of Columbus for Education. And Adam has a lot of background as far as the educational programs go. He's been to Chicago and Denver, and it's really a great pleasure to talk with Adam about the educational programs in the Catholic Church. So welcome, Adam.
Hey, Patrick. Thanks very much. It's good to be here.
It's great having you here. I know that you've only been involved with the educational program here at the Diocese of Columbus for 6 months. And, you know, perhaps you can tell us, the listening audience, a little bit more about where you started, how you got to the important position that you now have.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Yes, I've been here in Columbus as superintendent for the past 6 months. I arrived here back in May and been working on learning our system, learning our schools, getting a feel for how education happens here in our diocese. But this is actually my 17th year in Catholic education overall. I've always worked in Catholic education. I couldn't imagine doing anything differently or anything else. I started as a teacher in the Archdiocese of Chicago right after I graduated from college, and was then a principal in the diocese for 10 years at a couple of different schools. And after that, I moved to Denver and served in their central office in the Office of Catholic Schools there as associate superintendent, and became interim superintendent, and then left to come home to the Midwest. I'm a Chicagoan originally, and it's good to be back in Columbus in the Midwest and a lot closer to family.
So you have had a lot of different unique experiences working in different school systems, etc. But one of the unique things in working in parochial schools is the overall educational program is similar, I want to say. But you as a superintendent work with, let's see, how many schools that you are involved with in Columbus Diocese?
We work with 53 different schools, 42 elementary schools that cover all the way up to New Philadelphia and all the way south to Portsmouth. And we work with 11 high schools in the diocese.
And so roughly how many teachers, how many principals, how many administration do you get to supervise?
Sure. Our administrative staff is about 70 people, principals and assistant principals. We have about 1,000 to 1,200 teachers in our system, and we serve 15,000 kids.
And so you don't want me to ask you to name all the teachers and administrators, do you?
I try. Principals, I would guess. I've worked with them very closely and have learned them very quickly.
I understand, you know, anyone that's involved in 53 different schools, I would imagine that you're constantly learning the players, the educators, the individuals that promote the kind of quality education that you want. So
definitely. I spend a lot of time visiting our schools and a lot of times working directly with our principals. So I've been to just about all of them at this point.
Very good, very good. Well, 6 months, maybe in a year, you'll know everyone there. But let me ask you this. The parochial school systems, the Catholic educational programs, how are they different than some of the other non-parochial schools?
Sure. And the key difference is that we are a ministry of the Catholic Church, and faith is central in our education. We firmly believe in the central role of faith and the Catholic teaching and relationship with God and Jesus Christ in our education.
Okay.
Always like to describe that by talking about my old boss, the late Francis Cardinal George, who was in charge of the Archdiocese of Chicago for a number of years. And he would talk about freedom in education. And he would say that in the Catholic faith, that's the only truly free education possible. And of course, he was not referring to tuition, as we do have to charge a tuition to keep our operation going. But what he was talking about was intellectual and academic freedom. We believe that God is present in all things. St. Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits, taught that and said, in all things we can find the presence of God. And we believe that that extends into education, and that children are truly free to come to an understanding of the world through the lens of faith and through seeing the central role of God in all things on a day-to-day basis, day in and day out, in their Catholic educational environment.
Have you noticed the changes that have been occurring with the Department of Education when it comes to the overall educational programs that you're trying to instill? Has there been a major change in the outlook of Department of Education?
Well, we do work closely with the Ohio Department of Education. We incorporate their standards into our standards for Catholic schools. We, over the last 10, 15 years in education, there's been major shifts in how we teach, in what best instructional practice looks like. And we have current with that. We also have seen a greater interest in STEM-based education programs, which have an additional emphasis on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And we have a number of schools that are working on those types of initiatives right now.
And so you call them STEM, science, technology. What are the other two?
Engineering and mathematics.
And I know that the programs that you do, at least I can say that for myself in the Portsmouth school systems, that there's a lot of emphasis on continuing your education after you graduate. And that there's a major push on looking at what scholarships are available.
And we like to say that we prepare our students for heaven and Harvard in that order. And we make sure that our graduates are ready for college and ready for the challenges that lie beyond, and also that they understand how to be good people.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about a good person, etc. I know that moral issues, Catholic issues, ethical issues are taught in addition to the educational programs that the Department of Education fosters. Is that correct? And, what are some qualities that you would like to see all the students portray once they graduate from the school systems?
Sure. We educate faith-filled people who understand their society, their place in society, who are, as again St. Ignatius was fond of saying, they are men and women for others. They are people who are truly of service to our world and understand the great impact that one person can have. We educate people to be comfortable in their faith, to know themselves and Jesus Christ, and to know how they can best influence our world for good.
Oh, very good, very good. Because you know, on a global global world, it's shrinking more and more with the technology.
And sure is, absolutely.
You know, I think that many students, when they do graduate, find opportunities in other countries. And I think their faith and their sense of ethics and values do have to carry through to other cultures.
Absolutely. It's important that they're citizens of the world, that they understand the larger world around them, and that they have that fundamental anchor in their lives, that moral compass that is instilled through Catholic education. That's interesting. Speaking of technology,
I know that many school systems tend to struggle in keeping up with the different technology that is available. And I know that it's my understanding that the Catholic Diocese has had a plan in place to keep tabs with technology. Is there anything you want to share about that?
Absolutely, yes. We are right up there with our neighboring public schools in terms of technology. We think that has a central role in education, but it's a tool for advancing education rather than an end in itself. And we see in our schools, pretty much across the board, is great use of technology to support the educational program. Most of our schools are using some type of Google Classroom setup that they have. We have a one-to-one student-to-device ratio in most of our schools, and is constantly being looked at, constantly being updated and improved to make sure that we are giving our students the very best.
And I think also there has been plans in place about the teachers. You know, if you can have all the different computers and technology in the classroom, but it really requires teachers to also have that experience. Care to share how you've been developing?
It definitely does. And our principals work very hard to provide professional development opportunities and to encourage our teachers to take advantage of those as well. And we have wonderful teachers. We're blessed with an excellent educational staff throughout our diocese, and they do great things.
Huh. I know that the students themselves love technology. Are there any rules or regulations? You know, sometimes when we teach in the college level, out come the phones, out come the different things, etc. And I know in the class that I teach, you cannot have your phone on. You know, if you need to step outside, fine, but you know, let's sort of focus. Are you finding with the students that you have to overstress some of the rules about technology?
You know, a lot of that just happens on the local school level. That looks different in each of our schools. What the common denominator is that in all of our schools, we teach good, responsible technology usage so that we're keeping our kids safe online. We're instructing them on how to stay safe, and we're also instructing them on the etiquette and rules of the road for using technology.
Yeah.
Specific rules will vary, of course. You know, they look different from elementary schools to high schools, but those are the consistent points. We want our students to be safe online, and we want them to know how to function in that sphere, that very important sphere, in all areas.
That's interesting. Do you not have a policy in place about bullying? You know it's very easy with technology to harass another student.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we absolutely have a policy in place on that, and we take those kinds of instances very seriously. We support our schools when those kinds of issues come up, and we work with them through those issues. But key to that, creating the right framework and the right instructional setup so that students know what is permissible and what is not permissible online and in that cybersphere.
We also have different programs. Many of the universities participate in a College Plus 2. Yeah, I'm not saying the name right. In other words, if you have made the necessary grades, you can also take courses in college. And I know that a number of different school systems in the southern part of Ohio take advantage of that. Is that something that you also encourage with your
Yes,
students?
definitely. The College Credit Plus program is in effect in our high schools, and we do encourage students to participate in that. We work with our schools to take advantage of those opportunities.
You know, that's one of the nice things about Ohio with the College Credit Plus is the fact that you could earn a lot of different credit hours while in high school. And your tuition bill would be much, much less once you graduated from there. Do you find that there are many schools that will participate with you, or are there certain schools that you found to be more apt to take advantage of this?
I think all of our schools do take good advantage of the program. I mean, we want to make sure that all of our students have all the opportunities that they can. And you're right, Ohio is incredibly generous in their support for education and for students in all of our schools, public and private. That is certainly unique to Ohio, and I've worked in 2 other states and not seen anything even comparable to
I know. It's just
education is admirable, and
Yeah.
it's a wonderful thing for our schools.
And I know that our Department of Higher Education under John Kerry has been very instrumental in helping families because college is expensive. And in today's world, individuals, what do they say? If you acquire a degree over a lifetime, you will have earned more than $1 million more than somebody that has not. I don't have all the statistics or anything. That's just what I heard, but
Yeah,
it does make
that's about right.
sense.
Yeah. I mean, the importance of a college education is significant. And we do prepare our students very, very well for success in college and beyond.
Very good, very good. Let's talk a little bit about some of the programs. You know, education is very, very important, but also in the school systems, sports, different activities, different programs are also available. So let's start with sports. I know that there are several school systems in the Diocese of Columbus that rank pretty high when it comes to football.
There sure are. This year, Bishop Hartley is having a wonderful year. DeSales is having a wonderful year. And our schools have a history of success in the OHSAA competitions. Last year, we had 3 state championship teams, 2 at DeSales in lacrosse and soccer, and 1 at St. Charles High School as well.
And also in basketball, how are you doing in basketball?
I'm not sure that we've started just quite
okay.
yet.
All right.
Are getting started, and we're expecting a great year. Athletics are an important part of a high school education, and we love that we provide opportunities for students to have that chance to learn teamwork, chance to learn leadership, and the chance to have success outside of the classroom as well.
No, that's interesting. So in addition to sports, whether it's the lacrosse or football, baseball, basketball, etc., what are some other programs that you stress that students might get involved? Like when I was going to school, I was involved in newspaper.
And we do have great newspaper and yearbook programs at our schools. We also have outstanding theater departments. We've got a couple of high schools that have musicals coming up in the near future. I know Bishop Reedy's musical is coming up shortly. And we have wonderful music programs, band and choir. Those are significant programs in our schools, and we encourage students to explore those interests and those talents.
Don't you also have some mentorship programs where the older children work a little bit with or relate to younger kids? I know it, yeah. Want to share anything with it?
Definitely do. And we have really strong relationships between our feeder elementary schools and our high schools. And that provides a lot of opportunity for children to engage with those younger than them. We also have a lot of K through 8 elementary schools, and that K through 8 setup allows for that to naturally happen within the school day and in the school building. 8th graders love the opportunity to work with the younger kids, and the younger kids always look up to the older kids, and it's a great chance to develop those kinds of leadership skills as well. One program that comes to mind in particular is a partnership that exists between St. Francis de Sales High School here in Columbus and St. Anthony Elementary School. They have a Read with a Stallion Day, and high school students will go from de Sales over to St. Anthony with the younger kids, and to model that and to be that older kid, that mentor, and someone that the younger students really look up to. It's a great program, and that's one of many that exists throughout the diocese.
That sounds really neat. I know that you truly believe in the value of Catholic education, and care to comment a little bit more on what the value of Catholic education is?
Absolutely. Like I said, I'm a product of Catholic high school myself, and I started Catholic education when I was 14 and haven't left. And I think for me personally, it made a very significant impact on my life. Entry into Catholic education was the first time that I ever felt truly and well known by my teachers and well encouraged. I think Catholic education is unique in its ability to incorporate faith into education, and that allows for just a different level of self-knowledge and a different level of engagement between students and teachers and that whole environment. I think Catholic education is well needed in our world, in our society, and it's an important option for families to have. We find that students are truly well-rounded and truly well-developed when they go through Catholic education.
That is very, very true. I know that when I went through my elementary school system, we had nuns and sisters. Are there still a lot of nuns and sisters that teach in the different schools?
There are. I wouldn't say a lot. It's certainly not at the level that it was at years ago, but the religious sisters play an important role in education here in the Diocese of Columbus. For example, Ohio Dominican University is sponsored by the Dominican Sisters of Peace, and that is a growing and thriving university here in Columbus. It's our Catholic university. Our diocese runs education from preschool through master's level work here, and we're very unique in that. But apart from that, we do have religious sisters who are involved in our elementary schools. We have an order of religious sisters that's opening a brand new preschool right here on Broad Street in Columbus that's set to open within the next couple of months. So, yes, there are religious sisters here all over. We also are incredibly well supported by our pastors and by our clergy here in the diocese. There are deacons and priests that are connected to all of our schools, and they play an important part in bringing that faith to life.
That's very interesting. I know that in growing up in the Catholic school systems, respect was one of the things that they stressed a great deal, whether it was lay teachers or nuns, etc., but respect for other individuals. Which brings up a question. Can anyone enroll their students into the Catholic school system, or do you have to be Catholic?
You do not have to be Catholic. We accept children from everywhere and anywhere. And the one non-negotiable, though, is that they will be in a Catholic school. The Catholic faith is the cornerstone of our educational program. So, yes, our schools are open to all, but they have to understand that they will be in religion class. They will have that infusion of our Catholic faith and beliefs throughout their educational day. And if someone of another faith desires that, they are more than welcome to be with us. We are a system of schools that teach because we are Catholic, not because all of our students are Catholic.
I see.
What we do, and it's the ministry that we are in.
So, we're sort of winding down here. So what would you tell individuals if you went into a crowded room and they wanted to ask your thoughts? Why should people consider the Catholic school systems?
Our Catholic schools are wonderful places. They are centers of faith and learning that play a truly important part in the formation of our young people. I would say that to go and take a look, to go and see what a Catholic high school or Catholic elementary school or a Catholic preschool looks like and see the difference. Our schools are open. They're accepting students right now. We love the opportunity to work with new families, and we value the relationships that we build. Our Catholic schools will change lives, and they do every day. And we encourage everyone out there to go and see.
Very good, very good. As I've asked a bunch of questions, etc. Perhaps you have any final thoughts as to what you are doing, the different things of that nature?
Sure. Just to say that the Diocese of Columbus is a Catholic school system that is thriving. It's a growing system. We serve 50. We have 53 schools throughout the 23 counties that comprise the diocese, and we're planning for our future. We're looking forward to being here in our diocese for the next 5, 10, 50, 100 years. Catholic education isn't going anywhere, and it's a wonderful thing to be a part of. I am truly grateful for the opportunity to serve here in Columbus, and truly blessed to be part of such a wonderful school system.
So whether you're in the Catholic diocese or not, how should individuals, should they contact you if they wanted to go into a school system, or what's the best way for students?
Well, the best way to learn about our schools is on our website, education.columbuscatholic.org. And that has all the information about our schools, where our schools are located throughout the diocese, and information about how to contact each school individually. There are also 5 other Catholic dioceses in the state of Ohio that have school systems as well. So viewers who may be in other parts of the state that are not within the diocese also have an option to take advantage of the wonderful thing that is Catholic education.
Adam, I want to thank you very much. We're talking with Adam Dufault. He's the Episcopal Moderator for Education and Superintendent of Schools for the Diocese of Columbus. Adam, thank you very much, and I really appreciate to the listening audience. You'll find some of the contact information right below. So,
Great.
On behalf of Adam,
thank you very much, Patrick.
Thank you very much for letting us talk with you. I'm Patrick Dangle. Thank you.